Hello everyone. So I'm now on summer break and I want to go fishing, but I want to, give myself a challenge. So we're going to see how many fish species we can catch this weekend. So it's Saturday today. So see how many fish species we can catch today and tomorrow. At any spot, hybrids do count. I will count hybrids. And yeah, we're just going to see how much species we can catch. All right, so up first we have probably the most well-known species in the world. That is the classic largemouth bass. Now, this is just a tiny little specimen, as you can tell, but still a largemouth bass. Next up, we have another very common species, the green sunfish. This species is by far the most adaptable sunfish, one of the most adaptable fish in general. They're very pollution tolerant. They can inhabit, if there's a body of water that has fish, chances are there's gonna be green sunfish in here. All right, not sure how well this guy is gonna stay still, but this is a central stone roller, a very common minnow here in the United States. Stone rollers in general, for that matter, but the central stone roller is the only one in Ohio. During the breeding season, males will get really fired up. Their fins will become bright orange and they get a bunch of tubercles on their head that arguably looks like a dragon, in my opinion. Now, I think this is a female, but even if it was a male, it's not colored up. Yeah, they also can get pretty big. I know someone that's caught one that was like 8 inches, but I wouldn't be surprised if they could get bigger than that. Here's another minnow species in this spot. These guys used to be pretty uncommon, it seemed, when I first started coming here, but since then they've seemed to become more abundant, and I'm not complaining because, I don't know, I just really like them, especially when they're spawning. But this is the western black-nosed dace. There's another specimen I have in the bucket that I'm gonna try to show you guys right after this one, that is phenomenally colored. But as you'll see in a moment, in the breeding season, the males will get stripe that runs down them. You can kind of see it on this one, but it's normally a black stripe that runs down the side, turns red, as you can kind of see in this specimen, which makes me think this might be a male. And they also get a bunch of tubercles on their head, which you can typically see tubercle scars if there's no tubercles on it and if it is a male, but this one doesn't seem to have it. Tubercles on these guys are tiny. But yeah, and then I can get the other specimen out. And here is the said specimen. As you can see how fired up he is. The bright red stripe, the tubercles. Absolute stunner. Next up is the all too common creek chub. Now, according to Rice and Zimmerman's Fish of Ohio, this is the most documented species in watersheds, meaning this species was found in the most watersheds. They get pretty big. Then the bluegill, everyone knows the bluegill. Then we have the mottled sculpin. Now these guys, they get bigger than this. They typically inhabit fast-flowing, cool water streams, which this isn't necessarily always that, but they still do really well in here. They look like grumpy old men. And last but not least, the orange throat darter. Now there's a ton of these guys in here. I caught some stunning specimens today, such as this beauty. Very gorgeous specimen. All right, here we got the next species, common carp. Whoa, whoa. Caught on the fly rod. There's a bunch of big common carp in here. They're really fun to catch on the fly rod. This guy might be my new PB, but yeah. All right, here we have the next species, and that is the fathead minnow. Now there's a ton of them in this pond. As you can kind of tell on some of them, for whatever reason, a lot of the fathead minnows in this pond have fungus and or hookworms on them. So I don't know why that is. It is spawning season, so naturally the fish are going to be under a lot of stress and have higher predation on them. So that, and you know, it could be easier for parasites and fungus to take advantage. But still, it's just so many of them here have something up with them. Yeah. Oh, that might be my PB.
He's big. You want me to use the net or you want to?
Yeah, I'll use
You
that.
got it.
Thank you.
I need more line reeled in. Holy smokes. It's a big carp.
Yep. Oh. Apologies for the foggy lens, but here we have a spot fin shiner. We had the rainbow darter, probably the most abundant darter in Ohio, or at least one of. All right, here we have the black striped top minnow. Now this is one of Ohio's few native fundulists, and more specifically, just one of Ohio's fundulists in general. The only other native fundulus in Ohio is the western banded killifish. However, we also have disjunct studfish and eastern banded killifish. These guys are pretty unique, pretty common. They're oftentimes seen on top of the water and identified by that white splotch on their head. Yeah, really neat species. Now this here, I'm actually not sure. I think it's either a mimic shiner or a sand shiner. But I'm actually genuinely not sure. I'm hoping mimic, just because I don't come across them as often. But yeah. Now here, wherever it went, is what I believe is this silver shiner. Let me get another quick look. So yeah, I believe this is a silver shiner. Could just be a big emerald shiner, but yeah, they're in the family Natropus. Compared to most shiners, these guys, in my opinion, seem to be really delicate, but they're still really neat. They're kind of like anchovies or silver sides, in my opinion, to an extent. But yeah. Now, as soon as I find it, here's a species that I honestly did not expect to come across today, but is a pleasant surprise, and that is the silver jaw minnow. They have really unique mouths. I could pop a picture up of a larger specimen here that I've caught. These guys are really neat. They typically inhabit like sandy substrates. And here's the infamous western mosquito fish. These guys are kind of like the common carp, have been introduced to every continent except Antarctica because it's said to eat mosquitoes, but in all reality, it's been shown that they prefer to eat anything but mosquitoes. I still think they're and sometimes an overhated fish, which is definitely a hot take. Here's another Natropus. This is the I believe this is a rosy face shiner based on that little bit of red. Now there is something with the anal fin and dorsal fin position, I believe, or I think it's anal and dorsal, that helps defer silver and rosy face, but I don't remember out the top of my head what it is. Well, yeah, these guys get a lot bigger and a lot more colorful. Here's the blunt nose minnow. Now this is another one of the minnows in the genus Pimaphals that can be found here in Ohio. They are very abundant, and especially in larger creeks and rivers in their native range. They're honestly some of the most common fish, especially juveniles, but still a species nonetheless. And during spawn season, they get absolutely gorgeous. Here's a neat catch. This is the smallmouth bass, a very well-known and widely known sport fish, game fish. Unlike the largemouth bass, these guys primarily inhabit river creeks and streams and rivers and lakes and reservoirs. They can be in ponds, but they require a lot of specifics. Now, I'm not sure if this is another blunt-nosed minnow or not. I think it is. But if this ends up being something else, I'll put it up on the screen. Here's the striped shiner. These guys are another very common minnow here in Ohio. They get decent, they get pretty big and they can get really colorful. But this guy's just smaller size one. Here's the Johnny darter. Now this is Ohio's ugliest darter. Most of the time, during swine season, they get a really nice dark purple color. But typically these guys aren't really presentable, but still a unique fish. They also, I believe, are one of the only darters that can inhabit lakes. But I could be wrong. Okay everyone, so that concludes the video. We ended off with about 22 species, I believe. That's what I counted. Yeah, not more than I expected. More would have been, you know, obviously preferred, but hey, I'd take 22 species, especially because I only was able to fish maybe a total of 2-3 hours that weekend, due to just scheduling. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely would like to do another video like that soon, maybe in 24 hours. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video and would like to see more fish content, like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.